basically, you've got to be the hardest, the toughest wrestler there is. Like, this is anywhere, no rules, no countouts, no DQs.
24/7 thing,
24/7. I'm always ready for a fight. I don't care who you are.
That's what I thought.
And
get in the ring. Referee, please. Was it handshake, right? Ding, ding, ding.
1, 2, 3.
Hardest of the hard. 24/7, day and night. Rejoice! 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 Commander Stephanie Sterling here at PPW, the newly minted, reigning and commanding 24/7 PWS Street Champion. I am the champion of the premier wrestling promotion in Korea, the best wrestling champion in Korea, who's never stepped foot in Korea. Oh, and don't you worry, I am still PCW Women's Champion as well. Rejoice! We need to talk about Bungie. We bloody buggering need to talk about Bungie. As much as I actually want to talk about how brilliant thank goodness you're here is, it's absolutely crucial we talk about the disastrously incompetent leadership situation with the developer of Destiny, because it's not only seriously screwed up, it encapsulates everything we've talked about in the past few years regarding layoffs, terrible management, and flagrant dishonesty from irresponsible shit-for-brains human vag flaps who cause all the problems but pass the punishments down to the people who are not only blameless but are actually the ones responsible for their company's success. Basically, Bungie's management are a bunch of cunts. Actually, no, this is another one of those situations where the Skeleton Warriors censorship gag doesn't quite cut it. This needs to be unvarnished. Bungie's management are a bunch of cunts. Oh, and as this story gets more infuriating, save some of your outrage, keep it in reserve until we get to the bit about the CEO and his many expensive cars. The studio just indulged in another obscene round of layoffs, wrecking the lives of good workers and contributing to the further devastation of a job market already unable to support the overwhelming thousands of professionals jettisoned by tech industry companies for no other reason than to satisfy investors with the perpetual illusion of infinitely increasing profit. I've also noticed you can measure how angry I am by how long my sentences are. Oh, and Eurogamer, I love you, and this is far from a you issue specifically, but please stop using phrases such as hit by layoffs. Can everyone talking about this stuff just agree on that? Like, it would be really good if we did, because hit by ain't right. It implies something happened when something was committed. The passive voice typically used when talking about layoffs in the media only serves to benefit the bastards who caused them. Layoffs are an indulgent action, decided upon by people who choose excessive paydays over human lives. Bungie was not hit by layoffs. Bungie triggered layoffs, indulged in layoffs, committed layoffs. This needs to be made especially clear when it comes to this situation because it is unforgivable. Bungie wasn't hit by layoffs. It was hit by executives. 222 people had their jobs incinerated by managers who opted for layoffs over other cost-cutting measures because they see human beings as nothing but an expense. This is 17% of the workforce and follows the layoffs Bungie treated itself to last October, where 100 people were dropped. 155 employees are being shifted over to Sony to form a new studio. Bungie CEO Pete Parsons did the usual hand-wringing performance CEOs are obligated to insincerely do, alongside the announcement, spouting the usual bollocks about how it was such a difficult decision. I'm not gonna quote him even, because his utter drivel doesn't deserve the dignity. If you've heard one CEO's post-layoff excuses, you've really heard them all. Rising costs, economic changes, blah blah blah, fuck off. Previously, the mood at Bungie has been described as soul-crushing as a result of all the layoffs and the constantly looming feeling that everybody there is fucked. One assumes this latest screw-up by the bellends in charge hasn't upped the morale. So far, so horribly business as usual for this terrible fucking business. Where Bungie stands out, however, is in how the aftermath of these latest layoffs have painted a picture that backs up all of my criticism of game industry executives, highlighting exactly how it's their fucking ineptitude that keeps causing all the problems despite their own job security remaining far less threatened. As I first started saying in 2019, layoffs deserve to be seen as an abject failure of corporate leadership, and it is leadership that should weather the impact. In Bungie's case, it seems that assertion is incontrovertible. So according to reports, primarily thanks to statements gathered by journalist Stephen Totillo, Bungie's woefully inept management directly caused these layoffs because they more or less bullshitted Sony with an unrealistic portrayal of the studio's financial prospects and couldn't deliver on its promises. Hell of a way to deal with your parent company. Remember just last week when we talked about how unrealistic expectations are considered one of the most damaging problems in the industry? Yeah, Bungie's clownish executive orifices did that shit. And what do you know, it caused a lot of fucking damage. Bungie, which was acquired by Sony in 2022, couldn't meet the financial targets promised because they were literally fucking impossible. Allegedly, the layoffs were planned long before the trigger was pulled because even if Destiny's latest edition, The Final Shape, had blockbuster levels of success, it simply wouldn't be enough. Bungie's failed leaders concluded they'd need to, and I quote, make deep cuts to show Sony's executives that it was taking its finances seriously. Just a shame they didn't take those finances seriously enough to not lie to Sony about... overestimate to Sony about them. The Final Shape did not have blockbuster success and sold less than Destiny 2's Lightfall expansion. One source said, the financials just don't work. Destiny is an incredibly expensive game to make. Nonetheless, Destiny 2 is the only thing currently making any money for Bungie. So, holy fucking clits, the video game business is a complete and total fucking mess. Oh god. Yeah, might as well just throw my CV in the fucking bin. Current and former staff have not been shy about sharing their opinions on this one, and the blame has rightly been laid at the feet of the only people you really can blame. After all, the actual workforce did its job and did it well, making critically acclaimed software for a revenue-generating game they made. Pete Parsons, in particular, has been getting a verbal kicking. Good. Shame it's only verbal, and his ass isn't getting literally booted out the friggin' door. Senior UX designer Ash Duong confirmed their job was safe, but regardless said they were fucking enraged, adding, this is hitting people who were told they were valued, that they were important, that they were critical to business success. But none of that mattered. And no, it doesn't matter. Again, I've talked about this before, it doesn't matter if your game succeeds or fails. It doesn't matter how talented you are, how critically acclaimed you are, how much revenue you generate for your company. When the shitheads in charge want to cut some costs so they can roll on their backs and get tummy rubs from the shareholders, everyone is fair game. Former community manager for Destiny 2, Leanna Rupert, urged Pete to step down. Step down, Pete, she said. See? Told you she urged Pete to step down. Former social media lead Griffin Bennett was deliciously succinct in his assessment. Pete is a joke. Appreciate the sentiment, but jokes are funny. And Pete is a cum rag. Oh, and if you think anyone's being harsh, well... Here we arrive at the most disgusting part of the whole story, because yes, it gets worse. This next bit, once again, also details fucking perfectly what I've said for years about how industry leaders prioritize axing jobs over paying themselves fewer of the millions of dollars they award themselves all the fucking time. If you ever wanted to get a picture of what wage theft looks like, if you've ever wanted to understand why layoffs are so infuriating, let this single sentence burn itself into your brain. You invited me to come see your new cars. 2 days before you laid me off. This was said by former employee Sam Bartley, who also called Pete a coward when he made his online details private to avoid criticism, and accused him of lying to their face. See, it turns out that not just before, but during all the financial trouble that has led to the layoffs, CEO Pete Parsons has been spending millions on classic cars. He's not been shy about it either, boasting to staff and publicly showing them off. The aforementioned Leanna Rupert added more details, stating, "Pete walked right up to us and bragged about a few new expensive cars he bought and that we should come to his house and see them." After hearing how we weren't making enough money. Just before Bungie's October layoffs, this helmet on legs spent $79,000 on a car, and in the year following, he spent an estimated $2,414,550 on his vehicle habit. That's it, isn't it? Is this not the mic drop moment for anyone who suggested layoffs are an optional indulgence for an executive class that could cut costs more significantly by just paying themselves less staggering amounts of money? Let me check. I'll just pick up my mic a second. And... Yep. Dropped. Fuck, I think I broke it. Reports seem to suggest that despite Parsons claiming management is suffering too, he and the rest of the leeches atop the hierarchy have not endured a single pay cut in the months of financial struggling they themselves are directly responsible for. Fucking incredibly, when an employee asked if management would be reducing its own payout during a Q&A session, they were told Bungie was not that type of company. Is he not, mate? Is it not that type of company? What type of company is it then, you fucking clod? Did you tell that to the woman you're laid off on the literal fucking eve of her maternity leave? You absolute fucking beasts! Depraved. Depraved? It is a total fucking lie when a CEO calls layoffs a difficult decision. If you can spend over $2 million so fucking casually on a hobby, the amount of money you're actually taking home must be enough to make a normal person's nose bleed. You are certainly helping yourself to so much money that you could have personally saved every single job you cut and still remain fucking wealthy. But no, Pete Parsons chose his penis extension over the lives of the people who generated that penis extension buying money for him. And Pete isn't the only executive at Bungie. Just how much of Sony's $3.6 billion buyout money went directly into the bank accounts of those fucking parasites? How much better would Bungie's financial situation be if Bungie's finances weren't supporting the excessive whims of an already rich class of actual fucking parasites? It should be telling to comprehensive fuckery that the two known consequences felt among the actual leadership came for two execs who actually seemed to do real work there. The guys in charge of the Destiny franchise, Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy, were claimed to have no path forward following the cancellation of the Destiny-related project Payback. They were considered more expendable than the man who takes millions of dollars out of the company to keep buying cars with, who has lost trust with both his workforce and the public, and who deserves the blame for leading the company into a spiral of disaster. This is the reality of the business's highest-ranking individuals, causing most of the problems, taking most of the money, and facing the least of the consequences. What a great socio-economic system we have. In a world of reason, it would be considered broken, but in this one, it's working exactly as designed. Feed the rich and fuck everyone else. The nebulously detailed rising costs of game development have been used to justify so much vile shit in the game's business, from predatory economies to the thousands of layoffs that are ruining the entire industry. My answer to that pathetic excuse has been simple. I won't consider the cost of making games until we address the cost of paying executives. Games should cost a lot to make. They're the thing these businesses are in the literal business of making. It's fucking right to expect game development to get the lion's share of investment, but that's not what happens. No, the majority of the money is extracted out of the game industry entirely to line the pockets of executives and shareholders. By far, these ghouls are the single biggest financial drain on the entire business. They don't make the games. They don't put the work in, they don't really do anything except help themselves to the money earned by their employees, and then throw those very employees into the wood chipper when their own massively unnecessary paydays are threatened.
Me birds bite free and me car's a natter. Loads of money is shall I utter as I wave my wand to the geezers in the gutter.
Pete Parsons is a fucking liar. He misled Sony about the company's prospects, he lied to his staff about their futures, and he's lying his car seat warmed arse off when he says he's the one having a difficult time. Nobody cares about how fucking hard your plush, pampered, decidedly ill-gotten little life is, Pete, you stupid twat. Pete. Sell a car or two, Pete. Take a pay cut, Pete. Slice a couple mil, Pete, of all those mills you're leeching out of Bungie, Pete. Step down, Pete. Pete! Pete! Oh, but you're not that type of company, are you? No, you're the same type of company as every single other decency-forsaken company in this hellbound industry. A company that exists to enrich the rich. I'm sure you will keep your parachutes well gilded, you fucking human ticks. Peter Pumpkin Penis is himself a disaster, as are the other clueless dipshits helping him run Bungie into the ground.
If the group of clowns is too large, it tends to interfere with the communication process.
If he spent more time driving his company instead of driving classic cars, maybe he'd be less of an incompetent wanker, but probably not, because what is the executive class if not a majority of incompetent wankers who failed upwards because big businesses confuse ruthlessness for intelligence? It is disgusting that whatever happens, these shitwipes will be alright. They're millionaires. They'll do just fine. If Bungie rises from the ashes, they'll take the credit alongside the profits. If Bungie collapses into the ash, they'll just cruise off without so much as a grain of soot on their 1967 Shelby Mustangs. How is anyone still buying the games cost too much to make routine when men like Pete Parsons walk the earth? Or are at least chauffeured around it. And there you have it, another sterling performance from the greatest Korean wrestling champion who's never set foot in Korea, Commander Stephanie Sterling. Handsome belt, look at that, kiss my face, suck my dick. Thank God for me. Oh Christ!
Give me my...
Stop hitting me!
Oh, come on, ref, right! My belt! Go, down! 1, 2, 3, down!
Oh, what the Christ!
Fine! Yes!
Come up here, little bastard!
Fine!
What the... Don't make me run!
You best wrestler! You best wrestler in Korea!
Still a champion! Still a champion!
Easy come, go. Easy go.